What's up guys? If you've landed on this video, then there's a good chance you're on the market for a brand new pair of cross trainers. Now there are a ton of options on the market, and in this video, we're gonna discuss 5 construction elements to consider when looking for your next pair. We'll break them down in terms of functionality and stability. So whether you wanna lift heavy weight or just have a more day-to-day shoe, these construction elements can help you find what's best for your needs. So before going any further with this video, let's discuss something that's very important to a lot of folks shopping online, and that's price. The average cross-training shoe is gonna cost around $100. Now that's based off of the lower end models costing anywhere between $60 to $80, and the higher end, newer and more signature models being around $130. So what's fair for a cross-training shoe? In my opinion, I would scale price based off of how often you're gonna be wearing the shoe. If you're wearing it on a day-to-day basis and you care about your performance, then a higher price point can be more warranted. If you're more worried about wearing it just on a workout basis and you don't really care about having the latest and greatest, then go for a more budget shoe or an older model. If you're trying to save on money, there are 3 different ways you can do this. Number 1, look for previous iterations of the model. Number 2, look around for different color schemes. Oftentimes, color schemes that are not doing that well in the market will be decreased. And then number 3, look at different retail outlets, because a lot of different outlets will have different sales at different times, and it's always worth exploring before pulling the trigger on any one model. So in terms of overall price, base it off of how often you're gonna be wearing the shoe and what you want out of its performance. The first construction element we're going to discuss with cross-training shoes is the outsole. That is the bottom of the shoe. This is important for cross-training shoes for 2 main reasons. Number 1, stability, and number 2, gripping multiple surfaces and providing more of a reactive step in your workout. So if you're looking for stability with cross-training shoes, 2 things to look for. Number 1, look for a more rubber-based shoe, and number 2, look for the word TPU somewhere in the shoe's description. Now TPU itself will probably not be on the bottom of the shoe. It'll come more inside of a layer close to the outsole. That's a good indicator that the shoe is going to be very stable under weight. If you want something that's a little bit more casual for a day-to-day wear or a little bit of a lighter run, that's going to be something with a more foam and rubber-based outsole. Now these shoes are going to be a little bit less stable, but they're a little bit more comfortable to wear on a day-to-day. That's not to say that the rubber outsoled shoes can't be used for more of a running or jumping workout. They just might be a little bit more harsh. Again, to reiterate, stability, look for rubber outsoles with TPU somewhere in the description. That's a pretty good indicator that's gonna be stable. And if you want something for a more functional basis, for more lighter runs, more of a foam and rubber mixture. The second construction element we're gonna cover is the midsole of the cross-training shoe. This is the area of material that sits between the outsole, so the outside of the shoe, and the insole, the inside of the shoe. This is an incredibly important part for the cross-training shoe because it's a make or break between stability or functionality, and that's gonna be based on your needs. So what do you look for when you want stability? So midsoles that have more of a high density foam, so a little bit less compressible foam, TPU layers, and rubber that kind of wraps up from the outsole tend to be a little bit more stable. So the Metcon 4 and the Nano 8 are both very stable options, and you can kind of tell that by the looks of the outsole and how thin they are. So when you're looking at different shoes online, you can kind of scale it based off of the description and what they look like if you have no idea at all. If you want more of a hybrid model, I would say look for a midsole that has more of a foam base, but then also TPU layers. This is gonna be the Reebok Speed TR in this case, and this provides a little bit of a reactive forefoot, but a very stable heel. So it provides a little bit of best of both worlds. So if you're looking for something that's best for functionality, day-to-day wear, more casual workouts, you can look for midsoles that are more of a foam base. So the Free X Metcon has a highly foam-based midsole running all the way through the model, sans this little rubber part back here and a little TPU layer back here. These typically are a lot more comfortable on day-to-day wear. So to reiterate and to wrap it all up in a nutshell, stability, look for things like rubber, high-density foam that's not that compressible, and TPU layers. And then for more functionality and day-to-day comfort, look for more foam-based midsoles. The third construction element we're gonna cover is the outer construction of the cross-training shoe. Now, there isn't really a one-size-fits-all when it comes to what's best. What's best is gonna be based off of your needs and what you're looking for in a shoe. We're gonna talk about outer construction in 2 different ways. Number 1, breathability, and number 2, durability. Now, can these 2 live hand in hand? Yes and no. You're gonna sacrifice a little bit of breathability for durability, and that's simply due to the thicker material that's often gonna come with a more durable shoe compared to the more lighter and maneuverable material of more breathable shoes. So a couple examples of what's gonna be durable. Thicker materials and TPU textures like in the Metcon 4 are often very durable, and then proprietary materials like the FlexWeave and the Nano tend to fare a little bit better. These are designed to resist abrasion, so obviously durability is in mind when they get constructed. Now in terms of like a hybrid between durability and breathability, you can look for a more mesh material like in the Speed TR that has also this synthetic build. This provides a little bit of durability on the major points of contact where abrasion happens on the model, but also breathability up on the toe and more of the heated points of the foot. Now in terms of breathability, if you're looking for a solely breathable shoe, a maneuverable shoe, look for more mesh-based materials like in the FreeX Metcon. It's a lot more maneuverable, a lot more flexible, and it's typically a little bit more breathable. So to reiterate, durability, thicker materials or more proprietary materials based on what the shoe is designed to do. Hybrids look for mesh and synthetic blends or other blends of materials. And then for more breathability, more of a mesh-based model. The fourth construction element we're going to discuss is the heel and how much stability it can provide. A lot goes into this equation, such as your ankle and foot anthropometrics, and also how the shoe is designed. I'm going to give you a couple ideas of what to look for if you want stability versus comfort, and then vice versa. So if your goal is for finding stability in a heel, look for things with a more integrated heel cup. So like in the Speed TR, you can feel that there's a heel cup within it, and it provides a little bit of more support around the ankle and under the malleolus, so it's going to be a little bit more of a stable base. You can look for things like plastic heel clips or heel cups. These are often good indicators that the heel is going to be stable. Now, if your goal is comfort, look for shoes with more of a booty design or a more thicker heel. These are going to fit more like a sock and be a little bit more comfortable. They might not provide the same level of stability, but again, that's if comfort is your goal. One thing to remember is that it's going to vary a lot from shoe to shoe. Make sure you read the description of the model or even read our reviews if you want a full assessment of how stable the models are. The last element we're going to look at on cross-training shoes is the forefoot. This is a question I get a lot on reviews, and that's, can the model accommodate for a wider foot and full toe splay? That's important for stability, performance, and functionality. So I can't stress enough to read our individual reviews if you want a more thorough answer, but if you're just scrolling around online and doing some shopping, there is one way you can kind of get an idea of the forefoot of the shoe and how wide it will be. Now, is this always the equation to do? Yes and no. It'll give you a decent roundabout answer, and it's quick. So look at a shoe's outsole from this angle. You can look at the medial and lateral sides of the midfoot. If they dip in a lot, that's a good indicator that that forefoot is going to be a little bit more narrow. So let's look at two examples. The Nano 8 is a little bit more of a wider shoe. The divots here are not that drastic, and it's a little bit more of a flatter shoe. The Metcon 4's divots, you can see go in a lot. That's a lot more of an athletic and slimmer fitting shoe. Think about back to a cleat like you wore it as a kid playing sports. That midfoot is very, very skinny, and oftentimes that shoe fit very snug. Similar to cross-training shoes, one way to get an idea of the forefoot and how wide it might be is to look at the lateral and medial divots in the midfoot. And again, if you want a more thorough answer, check out our individual reviews. But if you want a quick way to do this on your own, that's one way to kind of assess forefoot width. And that wraps up our guide on how to choose the best cross-training shoe. Now, if you want more on this topic, I have built out a comprehensive article with graphics on this topic alone to give you more of an idea of what to look for. You can find that by Googling BarBend and how to choose a cross-training shoe. And if you're just on the market to find the best of the best in cross-training shoes with a certain category, be sure to check out our roundup and Google BarBend and best cross-training shoes.